Picture this, a god so powerful that he literally willed himself into existence from nothing. No parents, no creator, just pure divine determination. Meet Ra, the Egyptian sun god who didn't just rule over other deities. He basically invented the whole concept of being a god. While other mythologies needed cosmic battles and family drama to create their pantheons, Ra just said, "Let there be me," and boom, universe activated. Every single day, Ra would sail across the sky in his golden boat, bringing light to the world. But here's where it gets crazy. Every night, he had to fight a giant chaos serpent that wanted to devour all of creation. Talk about a tough daily commute. This cosmic snake, Apep, would try to swallow Ra whole as he traveled through the underworld. If Ra lost just once, everything would end in eternal darkness. But wait, it gets even more intense. Ra's tears literally created humanity. His spit formed the first gods, and one day a crafty goddess named Isis managed to steal his secret name, the source of all his power. Ready to dive into the wild world of ancient Egypt's most important deity? Buckle up, because Ra's story has more twists than a Hollywood blockbuster. Long before anything existed, there was only Nun, an endless ocean of dark, lifeless water. No light, no land, no gods, just infinite nothingness stretching in every direction. Then something incredible happened. From this primordial soup, a consciousness began to stir. This wasn't some random cosmic accident. This was pure willpower, taking divine form. Ra emerged from these waters not as a baby god needing care, but as a fully formed deity with a mission. He pulled himself up onto the first piece of solid ground ever to exist, a pyramid-shaped mound called the Benben stone. Think of it as the universe's very first real estate. This wasn't just any ordinary rock either. The Benben became the most sacred symbol in Egyptian religion, representing the moment creation itself began. The Heliopolitan priests had multiple versions of this origin story, but they all agreed on one thing. Ra created himself through sheer divine will. Some texts describe him as Amun-Ra, combining his creative aspect with his solar nature. Others call him Khepri, the scarab beetle who pushes the sun across the sky, like dung beetles push their precious cargo. Different names, same incredible concept. A god who owes his existence to no one but himself. What makes Ra's self-creation so theologically mind-blowing? Most ancient cultures needed their gods to be born from something or someone else. Greek gods had Gaia and Uranus. Norse mythology started with the void, Ginnungagap. But Ra, he basically looked at nothingness and said, "I don't think so," before creating himself from scratch. That's some serious divine confidence right there. As the first conscious being in existence, Ra became the template for all divine consciousness that followed. He was simultaneously the creator and the created, the first and the eternal. Egyptian texts describe him as the one who came into being by himself and he who made himself. These weren't just fancy titles. They were fundamental statements about the nature of ultimate divine power. Ra's various names each revealed different aspects of his incredible nature. As Adam, he was the complete one, containing all potential within himself. As Khepri, he represented the rising sun and new beginnings. As Ra-Horakti, he merged with the sky god Horus to become Ra of the two horizons. Each name wasn't just a label, it was a key to understanding different facets of his unlimited power. The theological implications of a self-created deity were huge for ancient Egyptian thinking. If Ra could create himself, then he wasn't bound by the normal rules that governed other gods. He didn't owe loyalty to cosmic parents or follow family hierarchies. This made him the ultimate authority in the divine realm, a cosmic CEO who built his own company from nothing. Ra's emergence from the primordial waters also established the pattern for Egyptian creation myths. Water represented chaos and potential, while the emerging land represented order and actualization. Ra's birth was the universe's first victory of order over chaos, a theme that would define Egyptian religious thinking for thousands of years. Pretty impressive for a day's work. The Benben stone where Ra first appeared became so sacred that every Egyptian temple included a miniature version. Obelisks were basically giant Benben stones, pointing toward the sky where Ra ruled. When you see those tall, pointed monuments today, you're looking at humanity's attempt to recreate the moment when Ra first brought consciousness in order to an empty universe. Once Ra established himself as the universe's first consciousness, he faced a pretty big problem. He was completely alone in an empty cosmos. Time to get creative. Ra's solution was both brilliant and slightly gross, depending on how you look at it. He decided to populate the universe using his own bodily fluids. Hey, when you're the only being in existence, you work with what you've got. Ra's first creative act involved some divine spitting. From his saliva came Shu, the god of air and dry winds. Then he either sneezed or cried, the texts disagree on this detail, producing Tefnut, the goddess of moisture and rain. These weren't just random body functions. Each one was a deliberate act of creation, bringing fundamental forces into existence. Shu and Tefnut became the first divine couple, representing the balance between dry and wet that makes life possible. But Ra wasn't done with his biological approach to creation. When he wept tears of joy at seeing his first children, something magical happened. Each tear that hit the ground transformed into a human being. That's right. According to Egyptian mythology, humanity was born from the emotional overflow of a happy god. This origin story created a special connection between Ra and mortals that other creation myths couldn't match. Shu and Tefnut had their own children, continuing Ra's expanding family tree. They produced Geb, the earth god who literally became the ground everyone walked on, and Nut, the sky goddess who arched her star-covered body over the world. Imagine looking up at night and knowing you're seeing the belly of a goddess. Nut and Geb's relationship was intense, so intense that Shu had to separate them to prevent constant cosmic earthquakes. This divine family became known as the Ennead, the 9 gods of Heliopolis who formed the core of Egyptian theology. Ra sat at the top as the grandfather of them all, with Shu and Tefnut as his children, Geb and Nut as his grandchildren, and their 4 kids, Osiris, Isis, Set, and Nephthys, as his great-grandchildren. Talk about keeping it in the family. Ra's creation through speech was equally impressive. He spoke the names of things and they came into existence. Mountains rose when he named them. Rivers flowed at his command. Animals appeared when he described them. This wasn't just divine magic. It was the establishment of language as a creative force. Words had power because Ra had proven they could literally create reality. The establishment of Ma'at, cosmic order and truth, was perhaps Ra's greatest creation. Ma'at wasn't just a concept. She was also a goddess, often depicted with an ostrich feather representing balance and justice. Ra created her to maintain order in his newly formed universe. Without Ma'at, creation would collapse back into the chaos of Nun. She became the standard by which all actions, divine and mortal, were judged. Ra's creative period established him as not just a powerful god, but as the architect of reality itself. Every aspect of existence, from the air people breathed to the moral principles they followed, came from his divine will. Other gods might rule over specific domains, but Ra had created the domains themselves. That's the kind of resume that keeps you at the top of the pantheon. The psychological impact of these creation stories on ancient Egyptians was profound. They weren't just random beings in a random universe. They were the literal tears of joy from the supreme God. This gave human life inherent value and meaning. When life got tough, Egyptians could remember that they carried a piece of Ra's own emotional essence within them. After creating the universe and populating it with gods and humans, Ra established himself as the ultimate ruler of both realms. His palace in the heavens made every earthly throne room look like a garden shed. Picture halls of pure gold, walls decorated with living constellations, and a throne that radiated the power of 1,000 suns. This wasn't just showing off. Ra's cosmic palace demonstrated that divine authority required divine magnificence. Ra's divine court functioned like the ultimate government, with each god handling specific responsibilities. Thoth managed wisdom and writing, Ta oversaw craftsmanship, and Hathor took care of love and music. But Ra remained the final authority on all decisions. When gods had disputes, they came to Ra for judgment. When cosmic crises threatened creation, Ra stepped in to restore order. He was essentially the universe's first and most effective CEO. The principles of kingship that Ra established in his heavenly realm became the template for human pharaohs. Egyptian kings weren't just political leaders. They were Ra's earthly representatives, wielding divine authority delegated from the sun god himself. This divine right of kings concept meant that opposing the pharaoh was literally opposing Ra. Pretty clever political theology. During this golden age, prosperity flowed through both divine and mortal realms like water from a perfect spring. Gods worked together harmoniously, each contributing their unique gifts to maintain cosmic balance. Humans lived in peace, with abundant harvests and protection from chaos. The Nile flooded at perfect intervals, seasons followed their proper cycles, and Ma'at's justice prevailed in all disputes. Ra's daily routine during this period was magnificently structured. Each morning, he would hold court with the gods, hearing their reports and issuing divine decrees. Midday was reserved for his solar journey across the sky, blessing the earth with light and warmth. Evenings involved receiving petitions from mortals and other gods, demonstrating his accessibility despite his supreme power. Even gods need good time management skills. His interactions with other major deities revealed both his authority and his wisdom. When Osiris needed guidance on ruling the underworld, Ra provided cosmic blueprints. When Isis sought magical knowledge, Ra became her teacher, though he'd later regret this. When younger gods challenged the established order, Ra dealt with them firmly but fairly. He was the divine patriarch everyone could turn to. The prosperity of Ra's golden age wasn't just material, it was spiritual and intellectual too. This was when the great principles of Egyptian civilization were established. Art, architecture, medicine, mathematics, and astronomy all flourished under Ra's enlightened rule. The pyramids weren't just tombs. They were attempts to recreate Ra's perfect cosmic order in stone and geometry. But here's what made Ra truly special as a ruler. He actually cared about his subjects. Unlike gods in other mythologies who saw mortals as amusing pets or annoying insects, Ra viewed humans as his own children, literally born from his tears of joy. This created a unique relationship between the divine and mortal realms that would define Egyptian religion for millennia. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the eastern horizon, Ra began the most important commute in cosmic history. His solar barque, called Manjet during the day, would emerge from the underworld, carrying not just the sun, but hope itself. This wasn't your average boat ride. Ra's vessel was a floating fortress of divine power, equipped with everything needed to maintain cosmic order for another day. Ra's crew reads like a who's who of Egyptian mythology. Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, served as navigator and record keeper, documenting each day's journey. Horus stood as the divine helmsman, his falcon eyes scanning for threats. Ma'at herself rode along, her feathered symbol ensuring that justice and order accompanied the sun's path. Even Sia, divine knowledge, and Hu, divine utterance, joined the crew, making this the most intellectually powered boat in existence. The symbolism of Ra's east to west journey went far deeper than just explaining where the sun goes. Each direction represented fundamental aspects of existence. East meant rebirth, new beginnings, and the triumph of light over darkness. West symbolized completion, rest, and the necessary preparation for renewal. Ra's daily path showed Egyptians that life itself followed cycles of activity and rest, struggle and peace. As Ra traveled across the sky, he transformed into different aspects of himself, like a divine costume change. At dawn, he appeared as Khepri, the scarab beetle god, pushing the sun disk across the sky, just as beetles push dung balls across the desert. By midday, he reached his full power as Ra, blazing at maximum intensity. As evening approached, he became Atum, the aged god preparing for his nightly death and rebirth cycle. The daytime journey, while majestic, was actually the easy part of Ra's daily routine. The real drama began at sunset when his boat transformed into Sekhmet, the night barque. This vessel was built for war, not pleasure cruising. It had to be. Ra was about to enter the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, where the forces of chaos waited to destroy everything he'd created. The Duat wasn't just any underworld. It was a twisted mirror of the living world, filled with lakes of fire, mountains of knives, and rivers of boiling blood. Imagine the worst horror movie ever made. Then add cosmic significance, and you're getting close. Ra had to navigate 12 different regions, each one representing an hour of the night, and each one containing unique challenges and threats. But the biggest threat wasn't the scary scenery. It was Apep, also known as Apophis, the serpent of chaos. This wasn't just a big snake. Apep was the personification of everything that opposed order and creation. Every night, this cosmic monster would attack Ra's boat, trying to swallow the sun god whole and plunge the universe into eternal darkness. Talk about a high-stakes daily battle. The nightly battle between Ra and Apep represented the eternal struggle between order and chaos, light and darkness, creation and destruction. Ra couldn't just ignore Apep or take a different route. This confrontation was necessary to maintain cosmic balance. Each victory over the serpent renewed Ra's power and ensured that the sun would rise again. Lose once, and everything ends forever. No pressure. Ra's protective crew became warriors during the night journey. Thoth would cast spells to confuse Apep, while other gods used weapons, nets, and divine magic to help Ra defeat the serpent. Sometimes they'd succeed in cutting Apep into pieces, but the chaos serpent would regenerate by the next night. This eternal cycle meant that Ra could never truly rest. He was locked in perpetual combat to preserve existence itself. The completion of Ra's nightly journey through the Duat represented the universe's daily renewal. When Ra emerged from the eastern horizon each dawn, he brought with him not just light, but proof that order had once again triumphed over chaos. For ancient Egyptians watching the sunrise, they weren't just seeing a star. They were witnessing the daily victory that kept their world safe from cosmic destruction. Even the mightiest sun god wasn't immune to getting old. Ra had been ruling for countless eons, and age was catching up with him. His once golden skin grew wrinkled. His divine saliva dripped from his mouth as he walked. The other gods whispered about their aging king, but none dared challenge him directly. Well, almost none. Isis, the goddess of magic, had bigger plans than whispered gossip. She was already incredibly powerful, but she wanted the ultimate prize, Ra's secret name. In Egyptian belief, knowing someone's true name gave you complete power over them. Ra's secret name was the source of all his divine authority. Think of it as the ultimate password to godhood. Here's where Isis got seriously clever. She noticed Ra's drooling problem and saw her opportunity. One day she collected some of his divine saliva from the ground. She mixed it with earth and shaped it into a venomous serpent. This wasn't just any snake. It was created from Ra's own essence, making it powerful enough to harm even the sun god himself. Isis placed her creation on Ra's daily walking path. When the great god passed by, the serpent struck like lightning. Its fangs sank deep into Ra's flesh, pumping deadly venom into his divine body. Ra screamed in agony, a sound that shook the heavens and terrified every god in existence. The supreme deity was actually vulnerable. The poison spread through Ra's immortal form like liquid fire. He writhed in pain, his golden light flickering like a dying candle. The other gods rushed to help, but nothing worked. Every healing spell failed. Every magical remedy proved useless. Ra was facing something he'd never experienced before, the real possibility of death. That's when Isis stepped forward with her helpful offer. She claimed she could heal him, but only if he revealed his secret name. Ra wasn't born yesterday. Well, technically, he was self-born, but you get the point. He tried to trick her by listing his many titles and epithets. I am the creator of heaven and earth. I am the maker of mountains and valleys. But Isis wasn't buying it. The pain grew unbearable. Ra's divine light was fading fast. threatening to plunge the world into eternal darkness. With no other choice, he finally whispered his true, secret name into Isis's ear. The moment she heard it, incredible power flowed into her. She had just become one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Isis kept her bargain and healed Ra, but the damage was done. She now possessed magical abilities that rivaled his own. This myth explains why Isis became known as the ultimate goddess of magic and wisdom. Sometimes even gods learn that sharing passwords, even divine ones, can have serious consequences. Ra had traded his monopoly on power for his life, and the balance of divine authority would never be quite the same. Being the supreme god meant dealing with some serious attitude problems from your subjects. Humanity had been pretty grateful at first. After all, they were literally made from Ra's tears. But gratitude has a way of fading over time. People started ignoring their daily prayers. They stopped making proper offerings. Some even began plotting against the gods entirely. Ra was not amused. The final straw came when humans openly rebelled against divine authority. They gathered in secret meetings, mocking the gods and planning to overthrow their celestial rulers. Ra watched from his solar barque, his anger building like a solar flare. He'd given these mortals life, consciousness, and free will, and this was how they repaid him? Time for some divine justice. Ra summoned his divine eye, the powerful goddess who could take the form of either gentle Hathor or fierce Sekhmet. In this case, he definitely wasn't feeling gentle. "Go down to earth," he commanded, "and teach these ungrateful humans a lesson they'll never forget." The goddess transformed into Sekhmet, the lioness of war, and descended to earth with blood in her eyes. What followed was the most epic rampage in mythological history. Sekhmet tore through human settlements like a hurricane of claws and fangs. She slaughtered thousands, her bloodlust growing with each kill. The taste of human blood drove her into an unstoppable frenzy. She was like a cosmic serial killer with the power of a nuclear weapon. Definitely not someone you'd want to meet in a dark alley. But then Ra had a change of heart. Maybe the punishment was getting a bit too extreme. The problem was, Sekhmet was so drunk on blood that she couldn't stop killing. She'd entered a berserker rage that threatened to wipe out all of humanity. Ra realized he needed to act fast or there'd be no humans left to rule over. Here's where Ra showed his cleverness. He ordered his servants to brew thousands of jars of beer and dye it red with pomegranate juice. They spread this blood-colored beer across the fields where Sekhmet was hunting. The goddess, thinking it was actual blood, started drinking eagerly. Soon she was completely intoxicated, the first recorded case of divine day drinking. The drunk Sekhmet transformed back into gentle Hathor and passed out peacefully. Humanity was saved, though significantly reduced in numbers. This myth became the origin of several Egyptian festivals, including celebrations where people would drink red beer to commemorate their narrow escape from extinction. Talk about turning trauma into a party. Ra also faced challenges from other gods who thought they could do his job better. His battles with Set were legendary, especially when Set tried to claim dominion over the desert sun. These divine conflicts often spilled over into the mortal world, causing droughts, storms, and other natural disasters. Being the king of gods meant constantly proving you deserved the throne, and Ra's proof usually involved a lot of cosmic violence. Here's where Ra showed his ultimate political genius. Instead of fighting every rival god, he decided to absorb them. This wasn't conquest through warfare, but through divine merger and acquisition. Ra essentially became the ultimate corporate takeover artist of the ancient world, except instead of buying companies, he was combining with other deities to create superpowered divine entities. The most famous fusion was Amun-Ra, combining Ra with Amun, the hidden god of Thebes. When Thebes became Egypt's capital during the Middle Kingdom, Amun's priests had serious political clout. Rather than fight a religious civil war, Ra's followers agreed to merge their gods. The result was a deity who combined Ra's solar power with Amun's mysterious, invisible presence. Think of it as the ultimate divine power couple. Another major combination was Ra-Harakti, merging with Horus the falcon god. This created Horus of the horizon, a deity who represented both the sun's journey across the sky and the pharaoh's divine authority. Ra-Harakti was typically shown as a falcon-headed man with a sun disk on his head, basically the Egyptian equivalent of a superhero costume upgrade. These mergers weren't just random divine team-ups. They reflected real political changes in ancient Egypt. When different regions gained power, their local gods needed to be incorporated into the national pantheon. Ra's willingness to share his identity, while remaining the dominant partner, was brilliant diplomacy. It kept him relevant and powerful across Egypt's changing political landscape. Regional variations got creative too. In some areas, Ra merged with crocodile god Sobek to become Sobek-Ra. In others, he combined with ram-headed Khnum to form Khnum-Ra. Each combination gave Ra new attributes and expanded his influence. It was like collecting divine Pokemon. Gotta merge with them all. The genius of this system was that Ra never really lost power in these mergers. He remained the senior partner, lending his solar authority to enhance other gods while absorbing their unique abilities. Local priests got to keep their traditional deities, while Ra's influence spread even further. Everybody won, which is pretty rare in ancient mythology. This syncretistic approach became a model for Egyptian religion. It allowed the pantheon to evolve and adapt over thousands of years without losing its core identity. Ra's willingness to share the spotlight actually made him more powerful, not less. Sometimes the best way to stay on top is to bring everyone else up with you. A lesson that probably applies to more than just divine politics. Ra wasn't just some distant cosmic force. He was woven into every aspect of Egyptian daily life. The great temple of Ra at Heliopolis was one of the most important religious centers in the ancient world. This massive complex housed the Benben stone, believed to be the primordial mound from which Ra first emerged. Pilgrims traveled from across Egypt to witness the daily sunrise rituals performed by hundreds of priests. The temple's obelisks caught the first rays of dawn, literally channeling Ra's power into the sacred space. Every single day began with Ra's worship. Egyptian priests performed elaborate sunrise ceremonies, chanting hymns as the sun god's Barque appeared on the eastern horizon. These weren't quick morning prayers. They were full theatrical productions with incense, music, and precise ritual movements. The priests had to get the timing perfect because they believed their ceremonies actually helped Ra defeat the chaos serpent Apep and ensure another successful day. Regular Egyptians participated too, though their rituals were simpler. Families would face east at dawn, offering bread and beer to ensure Ra's favor. Workers would pause their tasks to acknowledge the sun's zenith at noon. Even children learned to recognize Ra's different forms throughout the day. Khepri, the beetle pushing the sun upward at dawn, Ra himself blazing at midday, and old Atum settling into the western horizon at sunset. The pharaoh's entire authority depended on his connection to Ra. Kings called themselves Son of Ra and claimed to be his earthly representatives. Royal coronation ceremonies included elaborate solar symbolism, with the new pharaoh receiving Ra's divine blessing as the sun reached its peak. Palace architecture was designed to capture and reflect sunlight, creating the impression that the pharaoh literally glowed with divine radiance. Talk about ancient special effects. Solar festivals were the highlights of the Egyptian calendar. The Feast of Ra lasted for days, with massive processions, public feasts, and theatrical reenactments of creation myths. The New Year celebration coincided with the Heliopolis rising of Sirius, which the Egyptians connected to Ra's annual renewal. During these festivals, social hierarchies relaxed, and even slaves participated in the celebrations. Ra's light was believed to shine equally on all people. Egyptian art and architecture reflected this solar obsession everywhere. Tomb paintings showed the deceased joining Ra's solar bark for the afterlife journey. Temple walls depicted his daily battle with chaos. Even household objects, mirrors, jewelry, furniture, incorporated solar symbols. The famous burial mask of Tutankhamun features Ra's protective serpent and solar disk. Living with Ra wasn't just about religion. It was about creating a civilization that literally revolved around the sun's daily journey across the sky. Ra's power didn't just vanish overnight. Even as Egypt went through political upheavals, foreign invasions, and religious shifts, the sun god adapted like the ultimate survivor. During the Middle Kingdom, when Theban pharaohs rose to power, Ra cleverly merged with their local god Amun. This created Amun-Ra, basically the divine equivalent of a corporate merger that made both parties stronger. The most dramatic challenge to Ra's supremacy came during the Amarna period around 1350 BCE. Pharaoh Akhenaten decided to revolutionize Egyptian religion by promoting Aten, a solar disk closely connected to Ra himself. Akhenaten claimed Aten was the one true god, essentially trying to create ancient Egypt's first monotheistic religion. Talk about family drama. It was like Ra's own aspect rebelling against the traditional pantheon. After Akhenaten's death, traditional religion bounced back hard. Ra returned to his prominent position, but the religious landscape had shifted forever. The priesthood became more protective of orthodox beliefs, and Ra's worship became more formalized and less experimental. It's like after surviving a hostile takeover, the company tightened its corporate policies. During the Ptolemaic period, when Greek rulers controlled Egypt, Ra faced his toughest test yet. The Greeks identified him with their sun god, Helios, creating interesting theological fusion cuisine. Egyptian priests worked overtime to maintain Ra's distinct identity while accommodating Greek influences. Ra proved he could play the diplomatic game as well as he fought cosmic serpents. Even after Christianity began spreading through Egypt, Ra's influence lingered in surprising ways. Early Christian art in Egypt borrowed solar symbolism from Ra worship. Some scholars argue that the concept of Christ as the light of the world carried echoes of Ra's role as the divine illuminator. The sun god's legacy proved more persistent than anyone expected. Modern Egyptologists see Ra's mythology as far more than ancient storytelling. It's a sophisticated explanation of cosmic order and human existence. His daily journey represents the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth that governs everything from seasons to human generations. The nightly battle with Apep symbolizes the constant struggle between order and chaos that defines existence itself. It's like the ancients created the ultimate philosophical framework, wrapped in an epic adventure story. Ra's relationship with pharaonic power reveals ancient Egypt's genius for political theology. By claiming divine descent from Ra, pharaohs weren't just grabbing power, they were positioning themselves as living guarantees of cosmic order. When the pharaoh ruled justly, he maintained Ma'at and helped Ra defeat chaos daily. This created a feedback loop where political stability and cosmic harmony reinforced each other. Recent archaeological discoveries continue revealing Ra's central importance in Egyptian civilization. Solar temples at Abu Ghurab show sophisticated understanding of astronomy and mathematics. Papyrus texts reveal complex theological debates about Ra's nature that rival any modern philosophical discourse. The discovery of workers' villages near pyramid sites shows that even common laborers participated in Ra-centered religious festivals. Ra's influence extends far beyond ancient Egypt into modern culture and religion. Solar deities in other cultures, from the Aztec Huitzilopochtli to the Japanese Amaterasu, share remarkable similarities with Ra's attributes. Modern popular culture regularly draws on Ra's imagery in movies, video games, and literature. Even our basic understanding of leadership as bringing light to darkness carries echoes of Ra's primordial role as the first conscious being who illuminated the universe. Ra's journey from self-created cosmic force to complex syncretic deity mirrors humanity's own evolution in understanding divinity and power. He began as the ultimate origin story, a god who literally created himself and then created everything else. Through thousands of years, he adapted, merged, and transformed while maintaining his essential role as the source of life and order. No wonder the ancient Egyptians considered him eternal. Ra embodied the principle that true power lies not in rigid dominance, but in the ability to change while preserving core identity. What makes Ra's mythology so enduring is how it addresses fundamental human concerns that transcend any single culture or era. The fear of chaos overwhelming order, the mystery of consciousness emerging from nothingness, the relationship between earthly and divine authority, these themes resonate as powerfully today as they did 4,000 years ago. Ra's daily death and rebirth gave ancient Egyptians hope that no defeat is permanent, no darkness absolute. His tears creating humanity established that even gods share our struggles and emotions. If Ra's epic story has sparked your curiosity about Egyptian mythology, you're in for an incredible journey. Hit that like button if you found Ra's tale as fascinating as we did, and subscribe for more deep dives into the most powerful gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt. Drop a comment telling us which Egyptian deity you'd like to explore next. Should we uncover the secrets of Isis's magic, dive into Osiris's resurrection, or explore Thoth's wisdom? The ancient world is full of incredible stories waiting to be told, and we're just getting started.